Breaking news as we welcome you into NFL Live, and thank goodness we've got Sal Pal to help us out with all of it. He's at Browns-Eagles practice today, live from there. And Sal, some big news coming out of that Browns quarterback room. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, here's the latest breaking news. Let's get right to it. Shedeur Sanders, according to the Cleveland Browns statement, has a oblique strain. He suffered that in warm-ups this morning here at the joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles. The exact statement says, quote, update from the Browns. Further medical testing and examination of Shedeur Sanders revealed an oblique strain. He is considered day-to-day. Won't practice Thursday in the joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles, and is unlikely to play in the game Saturday across the street in Lincoln Financial Field. Now, here's the timeline, Laura. This morning, out on the practice field at NovaCare, we watched Shedeur Sanders warm up. He had every intention of going out there and joining the quarterbacks of the Cleveland Browns to practice, joint practice with the Philadelphia Eagles. Then he went over to Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, who told me after practice that Sanders complained of soreness or tightness in his oblique, and Stefanski pulled him out. He wanted him to practice against the Eagles. So after practice, I got a chance to talk to 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who's right now number one on the depth chart, about how Shedeur Sanders is handling the ups and downs of being injured, not being able to practice, starring in a role against the Panthers in his first preseason game. How is he handling the spotlight? Here is Joe Flacco's answer. Listen to this.
Shedeur does a great job with that. I mean, I think I think he's been around it a good amount, so he knows how to handle it and stay even and not really let it affect him. So,
what does this Browns team got to do offensively to be better than they were last year, Joe?
I think we just got to be physical and use that physicality to our advantage. I think anytime you want to be good on offense in this league, it starts with that. It starts with the guys up front and giving them the ability to play fast and play physical.
Now, Joe Flacco, as we know, grew up about 8 miles over the Walt Whitman Bridge in Audubon, New Jersey. His wife and children were here today. He's 40. He's got a Super Bowl MVP. Doesn't need to practice, but he was out there today. Definitely doesn't need the preseason. He won't be playing in the preseason game for the Browns. So we will see, obviously, a lot of Dillon Gabriel, who was out there today, the rookie from Oregon, and we will definitely see Kenny Pickett once he gets healthy. But no Shedeur Sanders, oblique strain, not good for the rookie out of Colorado.
All right, thanks so much, Sal Pal. The latest there. A lot to unpack as we welcome you into the show. We got Meg Tannenbaum here, as well as Mina Kimes and Peter Schrager joining us, too. Mike T., how do you think this injury affects Shedeur Sanders? The Browns are trying to manage this quarterback room, get people reps, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, Laura, there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, it doesn't seem serious, which is great. So we could take IR off the table, which would end his season. It's too bad because Shedeur played very well against the Panthers. They still have one more preseason game against the Rams to evaluate. But now, Dillon Gabriel, will he play? He was the third-round pick. He'll hopefully get an opportunity. But it just seems like this is all trending towards, hey, we have Joe Flacco, the ultimate bridge quarterback at 40 years old. But it's really too bad because I thought Shedeur was very encouraging in the first game. But one of the things about being a pro quarterback, guys, is you have to be durable. And hopefully this is just a small bump in the road. But any chance he may have had to start, which was probably a long shot, is obviously greatly diminished by not playing.
Yeah, I think it matters in two ways. One, the competition aspect, which I see more about QB2 backing up Joe Flacco. He could potentially lose some ground to Dillon Gabriel just by not being available in this game. And then the other is development. These reps matter a lot for these young quarterbacks. I thought Shedeur was really impressive in his first start. I was impressed by his accuracy, his touch, some of the pocket movement he showed, the dig from near his own end zone, the touchdown come to mind. But I also thought there were things he needed to work on, bailing on muddy pockets in the way he did in college. And one of the things that young quarterbacks have to learn when they come to the league, NFL speed is different from college speed. He can't go backwards the way he did a couple times in this game. He knows that. His coaches tell him that. But he has to play to learn that and to stop, sort of get those habits out of his system. So the more he plays, the better. It's going to make him a better quarterback.
Yeah, look, I've been called a hater for saying that I don't think he's got a shot of winning this quarterback one, and it's nothing to do with me. It was that he was fourth on the depth chart, and I thought Friday night was sublime. I thought he was fantastic. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm texting with some sources around the team We're like, no, he showed signs of progress, and then we get the depth chart, and he was 4th anyway. It seriously impacts any long shot chance he had of being QB1 not being available for these practices. Meanwhile, it's next man up, and Dillon Gabriel was healthy. Dillon Gabriel was thrown, and he's going to get his opportunity in this preseason game, which is a week 2 preseason game against the Eagles, which might not feel significant at all. But to Mina's point, if you've got your 2 veteran quarterbacks, one of them unavailable, one of them likely not going to play, and then you got your 2 rookie quarterbacks, it's a real opportunity for, in the same field, against the same defense, against the same stacked odds, Shedeur to outshine Dillon Gabriel. Well, over the 2-day period, it looks like Dillon Gabriel is going to get that opportunity and not Shedeur.
Yeah, it's interesting because you wondered what maybe Kenny Pickett or Dillon Gabriel thought as they watched Shedeur play really well. To Peter's point, now we get to see what Dillon Gabriel brings to the table. We'll see when Pickett gets healthy. All right, let's leave that there.
Super Bowl champion Eagles hosting a joint practice today with the Browns. The 2 teams play a preseason game Saturday afternoon. Leading up to that, all eyes are on the Browns quarterback situation. Shedeur Sanders started their last preseason game. However, Joe Flacco is listed as QB1 on the depth chart, while Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett have been dealing with injuries. All 4 quarterbacks were on the field today, but one of their days ended prematurely. Our reporter Sal Paolantonio and NFL analyst Mina Kimes here with us in studio. And Sal, you were at those joint practices. What more can you tell us about Shedeur Sanders and the morning that he had?
Well, here's what we know. I mean, after practice, Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, was not available to the media, but I did talk to him on the field as the players were coming off, and he told me that Shedeur Sanders complained of oblique soreness during the warm-ups this morning, and they made a decision to shut him down. They had planned to use him in the joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles today, but they decided to shut him down, make sure that he's okay, so maybe he can come out here tomorrow, Thursday, for the last joint practice and be available for Saturday's preseason game. As a result, what you saw on the field was a lot of Dillon Gabriel, the rookie, and a lot of Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old veteran. And I caught up with Joe Flacco one-on-one after practice, and I asked him, how is Shedeur Sanders handling the ups and the downs and the spotlight of his rookie season? Here's his answer.
Shedeur does a great job with that. I mean, I think I think he's been around it a good amount, so he knows how to handle it and stay even and not really let it affect him. So,
what does this Browns team got to do offensively to be better than they were last year, Joe?
I think we just got to be physical and use that physicality to our advantage. I think anytime you want to be good on offense in this league, it starts with that. It starts with the guys up front and giving them the ability to play fast and play physical.
Play fast, play physical. Translation, this Kevin Stefanski offense is going to be recommitted to running the ball with 40-year-old Joe Flacco, and it looks like he is going to be the Week 1 starter, and Dillon Gabriel will play most of the game on Saturday. Kenny Pickett still remains up in the air with that hamstring injury. So does Shedeur Sanders right now. His status is very much up in the air. They are going to check him out, get him an MRI to see what damage, if any, he did to that oblique during warm-ups, Amina.
Yeah, another turn in the quarterback situation out there in Cleveland. Sal, thanks so much for that insight. Amina, I want to bring you in right here. You heard what Sal Paolantonio just had to say about Shedeur Sanders coming out of practice today. Your reaction to that?
You don't have an overreaction. Sounds like a minor injury, of course. But I will say, for a player like Shedeur, who is competing for almost the right to compete, every snap is crucial. Many teams in the NFL treat joint practices as having more importance than preseason games, frankly. The fact that he got to play so much in preseason Week 1 was a huge advantage in his competition with Dillon Gabriel, seems like, for QB2. It's also an opportunity to learn. You know, one thing I thought watching him play in that first preseason game, he looked accurate, thought he made good decisions, but you also saw him getting used to NFL speed. There were some moments where he was bailing on the pocket like he did in college. He has to learn. He can't do that in the NFL, but the only way he can learn that is by being on the field. So you want him to get back on the field as soon as possible.
The key that you mentioned at the top, not to overreact. So hopefully everyone could just take a back seat, maybe take a little bit of a breath. On the other side, this Eagles offense